You know, this isn't just the story of a rifle. It's the story of a weapon that so completely redefined modern warfare that its influence is, believe it or not, still felt on every battlefield today. We're talking about the German Sturmgewehr 44, the world's first true assault rifle.
So take a good look at this thing. Developed by Nazi Germany right in the middle of World War II, this rifle would go on to create a whole new category of firearm. It literally set the template for infantry weapons for the next 80 years and counting.
And that's not an exaggeration. From the AK-47 to the American M4, the core ideas that the SG-44 pioneered became the global standard after the war. So, if you really want to understand modern infantry combat, you've got to understand this one weapon.
So, what was the big secret? I mean, what made this a genuinely new kind of rifle? Well, it all starts with defining what an assault rifle actually is.
Okay, so this definition right here is key. Select fire just means a soldier can switch between single shots and full auto. Easy enough. A detachable magazine? That's for fast reloads. But the real secret sauce, the true game changer, was that intermediate cartridge. And the SG-44 was the first successful weapon to really master this whole concept.
To get why this was such a revolutionary idea, we need to kind of transport ourselves back in time, back to the brutal battlefields of World War II, and see the deadly problem German soldiers were facing every single day.
This slide just perfectly illustrates the huge gap in the German infantry's arsenal. On one hand, you had the standard Carabiner 98K rifle. Sure, it was powerful and accurate at long ranges, but its bolt-action design made it painfully slow in any kind of close-quarters fight. Then, on the other hand, you had the MP40 submachine gun. Awesome for clearing a room, but it fired a weak pistol cartridge that was basically useless beyond 100 meters. There was this deadly void right in the middle.
And this tactical gap became a full-blown crisis on the Eastern Front. German soldiers were getting absolutely chewed up by entire Soviet companies armed with the PP-SH-41 submachine gun, which could just throw out a staggering volume of fire. The Germans learned a brutal lesson fast. They needed a single weapon that could give them the fire rate of a submachine gun, but with the range and power that was much closer to a rifle.
And the answer came in the form of this new cartridge, the 7.92 by 33mm Kurz, which literally just means short. It was less powerful than a full-size rifle round, which made it controllable in automatic fire, but it was way more powerful and had much greater range than a pistol round. This little cartridge made the whole concept work.
But, you know, inventing the perfect cartridge was only half the battle. The story of how this rifle actually got into the hands of soldiers? Well, it's a masterclass in bureaucratic maneuvering and, honestly, outright deception. So after the initial development, Hitler himself kind of threw a wrench in the works. He was worried about the logistical nightmare of a brand new ammunition type, so he ordered a halt to all new weapon programs. To save the project, the Armament Office got creative and sneaky. They renamed the rifle Maschinenpistole 43, or MP43, pretending it was just a minor upgrade to their existing submachine guns. This allowed development to continue, totally in secret.
But you can't keep a secret this big forever, right? The turning point came directly from the front lines. The story goes that when Hitler asked his decorated generals what they needed most to win the war, their answer was unanimous: more of this new MP43. A surprised Hitler was basically forced to investigate, and when he saw the glowing field reports, he completely changed his mind.
And just like that, with Hitler's blessing, the floodgates opened. Production was given top priority. By the end of the war, nearly 426,000 of these revolutionary rifles had been produced, which is just a testament to how desperately they were needed.
So with Hitler now fully on board, the weapon was about to receive its official and very iconic final name. This really marked its true birth as a whole new class of weapon.
The name Sturmgewehr, or assault rifle, was a stroke of propaganda genius. It was personally chosen by Hitler, and it perfectly defined the weapon's aggressive role. The name stuck, and in doing so, it created an entire category of firearms that we still use to this day.
I mean, the numbers on this chart tell a really powerful story. The SG-44's muzzle velocity and effective range slot perfectly between the long-range power of the Carabiner 98K and the close-quarters spray of the MP40. It was the perfect compromise, effective out to 300 meters on automatic fire, which, by the way, covered the vast majority of infantry fights. And on the battlefield, it proved its worth immediately. Soldiers now had this unprecedented tactical flexibility. They could lay down suppressive fire like a light machine gun, but also engage targets with accuracy at ranges far beyond any submachine gun. It was especially valued in the brutal, close-quarters fighting on the Eastern Front. Now, even though it arrived too late and in too few numbers to change the outcome of the war for Germany, the StG-44's impact was really just beginning. Its legacy would go on to define the post-war world.
The SG-44 had basically created the blueprint for the modern infantry weapon. We're talking about a select-fire rifle firing an intermediate cartridge that was effective at realistic combat ranges. After the war, this blueprint would be copied and adapted by pretty much every major military on Earth.
And the most famous successor, of course, is the Soviet AK-47. Now, it's not a direct copy. The internal mechanics are actually quite different, but the core concept, it's undeniable. From the intermediate cartridge to the overall layout, it's pretty clear that Mikhail Kalashnikov was heavily inspired by the German design.
And this next piece, this just shows how forward-thinking the weapon's designers were. This is the Krumlov, a bent barrel attachment with a periscope sight designed for shooting around corners or out of armored vehicles. It's a fascinating and kind of wild glimpse into the experimental innovation the SG-44 inspired.
What's truly incredible is the rifle's longevity. I mean, it served officially with East German forces into the 60s and Yugoslavian paratroopers into the 80s. But even more remarkably, these 80-year-old weapons have resurfaced in modern conflicts, most notably in the Syrian civil war. That's a serious testament to their robust and effective design.
So when you look at this picture of a soldier from 1944, just remember that the weapon in his hands is so well designed, so revolutionary, that its functional descendants, and in some cases the originals themselves, are still being used on battlefields today.
So, the SG-44 was way more than just a rifle. It was a solution born from tactical necessity, pushed into production through deception, and ultimately it was responsible for a fundamental shift in how wars are fought. It really begs the question, if this was the revolution of the 1940s, what's the next one going to look like?